Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft, and joining me, as always, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. How you guys doing today?
Doing good, but it's springtime.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean how you dress?
Yeah, you see this right here, Skip? I got tired of it the last 11 weeks wearing Lululemon.
Really?
Hey, Lulu, y'all need to send me Jenny and Skip something. But anyway.
That looks really good.
That look good, yeah.
It looks a lot better than what you had on yesterday.
Oh.
How are you, Shannon?
I'm good.
Good.
I had my Walter on yesterday. That was my Walter.
Every single day. We just get a little fashion in the show, always. Both of you guys look very good, and we have a packed show, so let's get to the latest with NASCAR. It took just 2 days for NASCAR to ban Confederate flags from racetracks after driver Bubba Wallace said it was the right thing to do in an interview on Monday night. Last night, Bubba said bravo and props to NASCAR for getting it done. Shannon, are you surprised NASCAR acted so quickly to ban the Confederate flag?
I am not, Skip. I think the thing now, especially in the current climate, I don't really think they had a choice. Now, Skip, I believe there could have been pressure on NASCAR to get rid of this Confederate flag a lot earlier. If their broadcast partners and every major network has had the broadcast rights to NASCAR, CBS, NBC, and currently on Fox. Also, you have to look at where their sponsors are heading. Look at how strong they're coming out against racism, saying Black Lives Matter, and saying they're going to be more inclusive. So I don't really see a choice that NASCAR really had in this matter, Skip. But I will commend them on this. It is very hard to do something that's unpopular. With their fan base, this is a very unpopular decision. Now, Skip, I know you don't really look at Twitter, but if you look at when they posted that on Twitter and look at some of the comments that they had up under that, it will let you know that a lot of people are not happy about this transition. That Confederate flag.
A lot of NASCAR fans.
Yes,
I'm sure they're not.
Yes.
Yep.
But, Skip, it makes no sense to me. Now, there's no question in my mind, had they won the Civil War, that would be the flag, unless we had to go to war again. Skip, that was going to be the flag. Because they were more proud of that flag than they were the actual, because the American flag, for them, it didn't stand for what it supposedly stood for. Okay. And I was thinking about it, I was like, hold on. And you hear people say, well, it's a source of pride in its heritage. They don't fly the Nazi flag in Germany, Skip. It's a part of history, isn't it? It's a part of history they're not proud of, but they don't display it. And you don't get to catch the L and then fly your flag everywhere. South, you caught the L. Take it down. And I'm glad NASCAR did that, Skip. And plus, Bubba Wallace, I think him coming out as strong as he was, he's the only full-time, in a very long time, Black, African-American, whatever he identifies as, that drives NASCAR. Yeah. And Skip, I'm sure it probably made him feel very, very uncomfortable to go there and to see that and to know what that flag represents. So I will commend NASCAR on that, because this was a very unpopular decision given the demographics of their fan base. And a lot of people identify with that flag. And in the South, in some places, that flag is more prominent than the American flag. Yeah. So for them to do that and say, you know what, the time is right. But Skip, given the current climate, I don't really know if they had a choice in this matter, considering the broadcast partner and considering the sponsors and what they're saying and what they're doing. I really don't know if they had a choice, but I'm sure it's still very difficult given the fan base. It kind of like, Skip, with the kneeling protest. A lot of the fan base of the NFL didn't like the kneeling protest during the anthem. Mm-hmm. And so that's why the NFL, so if the NFL had doing what they're doing now, which would have been unpopular back then, they would have been lauded. But now, even though they're doing it, I'm going to give them a little credit, Skip, even though it's it's never too, and I'm a firm believer in this, Skip, it's never too late to do the right thing. Oh. Should it have happened earlier? Sure, absolutely. I think everybody could have did it. For the most logical and rational and prudent people, say, yeah, this should have been happening. Yep. But it's happening now. Mm-hmm. It's the right thing to do, and I'm glad NASCAR did it.
So, I hear everything you just said, but still, I was shocked it happened that fast. I thought it might take a few days. I thought maybe it'd even take a few weeks. Obviously, they are risking, as you just pointed out by the comments you're reading, they are risking alienating a pretty good chunk of their fandom. a large segment.
One of
right?
the truck drivers says he's retiring. Says, you know, I don't want to be a part of this. He's like, I don't really care about the Confederate flag, but you should be allowed to fly whatever flag you want to fly. He says, I'm not. So he posted that he's selling everything.
So I was so proud of NASCAR because it didn't take an hour. and it was like, no, boom, done, over. Now, I will point out that the previous chairman of NASCAR, Brian France, back in 2015, he tried to pull this off then. So he was a little ahead of the curve in a great way.
Right.
And so 5 years ago, he said, let's make a policy banning the Confederate flag. And they instituted the policy without any teeth in the policy.
Right.
And much of the fandom just ignored the policy. And they did not try to over-police the policy.
Right.
They did offer at the concession stand, they would trade you a brand new American flag for your old.
No deal. No deal.
and they said they had very few takers.
Exactly.
And so they left the policy in place for 5 years, which said we are disallowing, whatever that exactly means, we are disallowing the flying of the Confederate flag by our fans at our venues.
Yes.
Well, but they didn't police it.
Right.
And even now, the next step is, can you police it?
Yeah.
Because they will defy this edict.
Of course
They will try to fly it. And remember, in the infield of some of these vast racetracks, it's just huge. It's like the Kentucky Derby infield, except it's full of RVs.
Yep.
And every
with big old Confederate flags flying on top of RV.
So,
You're right.
So now we're not sure, how do you police? Do you go in, do you crack down? Do you remove?
Yep.
Do you ban spectators? The way we're going to talk about later, Fenway Park has had to start banning season ticket holders.
Because a lot of times, Skip, they would come, they would have the, just like you see the American flag, they would have the Confederate flag draped around their shoulders.
Yeah.
So if you see it on them, you're not allowed to come in with that. And if you hang it, once you get inside, we're going to take it down. And if you resist, we're going to ask you to leave. It's as simple as that, Skip.
Okay. So and I know it's going to be a vast area to police, and there might be literally thousands of Confederate flags defiantly flying, and you're going to have the security task force in place to be able to go from RV to RV. Nope. Sorry. You're going to have to leave unless you pull it down.
Correct.
And it could be, quote unquote, sort of open warfare. I'm not saying there'd be any skirmishes, but people might just be very defiant.
Of course, there's going to be resistance at first, Skip.
Yes,
absolutely.
There will be. But I still say this is all because of a new day. And I'm with you. The tide has turned. We hit a tipping point that turned into a turning point. And what it finally took was, as we keep talking about, we were forced to watch a white cop murder an unarmed black man in broad daylight. That's what it took to open not just America's eyes, the world's eyes and ears to the issue at hand.
Especially the people that we've been trying to knock on their door and get their attention for the longest time.
For the longest time. Well, this is it. This is the sort of precipice of this turning point is this flag.
Yep.
Because look, I went to school at Vanderbilt with some kids who said, look, it doesn't represent racism or slavery to me. It's just my pride in the Deep South. Okay, but it was flown by the Confederacy, which was attempting to win a war against the North, to be able to maintain slavery as the basis of the economics in the South, right?
That's what it was about.
Okay, so that's what that war is about, and hundreds of thousands of men died in that war. And as we all know, and you correctly pointed out for sure, the South took the L. It was close for a while, but they took the L.
Right.
And in the end, you can't hang on to what is now, to me, the last vestige of racism in this country, of slavery, the last vestige of symbolic slavery is in that flag. Whether you say it's just Deep South pride or not, that's still what it originally stood for.
But you know what, Skip? Everybody says it's just about pride. But why do all the racist groups fly that flag if that's not what it represents?
Yep. Okay.
I've never understood that. No, we're not. It doesn't mean that. But why do all the racist groups, why do they always fly that flag? You look at the nationalists, you look at the supremacists, you look at whatever, Skip.
Okay.
These alt-right. Why is that flag so prominent? It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if it's America. It doesn't matter if it's Germany. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter the nationality. If you have a belief and you practice racism, you believe in racism, you believe that whites are superior, why do they always carry that flag if that's not what it represents?
Okay. And what is effectively the caption always underneath that Confederate flag? The South shall rise again.
Yes. So what does that mean, Skip? Because when you're at your absolute best, business was booming through slavery. Whites were deemed the superior. That's why they kept the black suppressed. That's why they kept them in slavery. So in other words, if they shall rise again, what, Skip? They're going to return to the old. No.
Okay. No. So I say also bravo to NASCAR because there's some financial risk here,
absolutely.
Right? And yet, long term, I'm hoping that short-term loss will mean long-term gain.
Right.
Maybe it brings a new wave of younger fans in who say, oh, it's a cool organization.
Right.
They took a stand.
Right.
Right? And I keep bringing up the fact that early in those protests that we watched on TV, a whole lot of white kids came out.
Absolutely.
So the white kids, the younger white generation of America, eyes, minds, ears open, wide open. We are with you. We are horrified. What can we do?
Right.
Well, maybe you'll turn some of them into NASCAR. Maybe now they'll say, ooh, I like this NASCAR.
Skipper, you do realize like they still have protests going on in L.A. and New York.
They do. That is correct. And for NASCAR to issue a statement saying the presence of the Confederate flag at NASCAR events runs contrary to our commitment to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for all fans, our competitors, and our industry. That's as powerful a statement from that sport as we could have in all of sports.
Right.
Because this is the last bastion of that South shall rise again, right? That's been the sort of underpinnings of this sport for 72 years.
Yep.
As you pointed out yesterday, it started out in the moonshine days, right?
Yeah, it did.
And for those who don't know, it was like illegal whiskey in the days of Prohibition, which would be made in what are called stills, right?
Yep.
Sort of out in the backwoods.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to outrun the police to get it
to where you need to be.
What were called speakeasies, which is where
your little juke joints holding the wall. You don't skip. You don't have a good time.
Yeah, you know that.
I do.
I've done that. So the point is that I also want to applaud Bubba Wallace. And the sort of delicious irony here is, for years, the nickname Bubba in the South sort of represented good old boys, right?
Yes.
So now we have the only black driver who happens to be nicknamed Bubba. How beautiful is that? Is that not right on time?
Yep.
So it took a black man nicknamed Bubba to have the guts finally to stand up and say, you know what? The tide has turned.
Right.
It's time. Enough.
Yes.
And he spoke out, and NASCAR said, we're going to do this now.
Skip, it's hard to be the lone dissenting voice in the room.
Is it?
When there's no one else in the room that looks like you.
Nope, you got it.
So that's what Bubba Wallace was up against.
Yep.
And I'm sure, look, most of these guys that drive on NASCAR, that flag has been there and they watching it grow up, that they saw that flag wave. And so I'm sure someone's like, look, if you don't really like it, you know, you can get out. That flag has been there for, as you mentioned, over 7 decades, Skip. But when you're the only guy in the room and no one in the room looks like you, and you speak out against something that's been, as you said, a bastion for that length of time, I'm not sure all the drivers are pleased with this. I mean, Skip, you can't go on TV like, well, they should have left it up. Everybody's going to say all the right things, but I can assure you that there are some drivers that are like, that flag wasn't harming anybody.
I've not heard that from anybody, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
I've also heard several speak out in favor and to campaign for removal of the flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. Skip, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. Skip, this thing is moving, and this thing is moving at warp speed. You see all these magazines, and you see newspapers, and people losing their jobs about things that have happened and said racist things maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. in a comfortable environment. Hell, they got Anna Winter issue an apology, and she don't apologize for nothing. I didn't even know she could talk. But they're turning the heat up on everybody.
Everybody. In every way.
And so they're going to sweat you out. You're going to have to come clean, open the door, get some fresh air.
Yep.
And then we're going to find out what's going on in your workplace.
Good point. So I don't know Bubba Wallace, and I haven't followed him that closely, but I have read that he has fought depression for quite a while and been very open and honest about it. I have to wonder if some of his depression was caused by just the deep uneasiness that he felt of trying to race in an environment where the stands are full
Confederate flags.
Just knowing the subliminal stress. Yeah. Can you imagine?
No.
I mean, you can imagine.
I can imagine. I mean, Skip, you got to realize now, I've lived I used to live in Atlanta, and I've lived there for 25 years. There's a big racetrack in Hampton. And cars would line up, trucks, and we're trying to get into Hampton because it's basically one way in, one way out. And you see the flags, and they display them proudly. You know, we got one of the biggest monuments carved inside of Stone Mountain. Stonewall Jackson, the Confederate, he's sitting on his horse. Now they're trying to, what they're going to do with that? They might get me a chisel and carve me an old Goat James face up in that thing.
Might.
Yeah, I ain't good with it, stuff like that. Yeah. But Skip, the South, you have to understand, I don't know really how to equate it, Skip. I really don't. So people that's not from the South or spend any length of time in the South can equate what the Confederate flag and what those monuments mean to a lot of people in the South. That's sacred to them. Those monuments is like church. You know how church, Skip, they call it the Bible Belt. People go to church and they might go to church and do a lot of other stuff. But those monuments, that Confederate flag, the church, it means a lot to them. That flag means a lot to people. Like the majority of the people care about the American flag, Skip. I'm telling you, in the South, that Confederate flag means more to them than that American flag to a lot of people. And so unless you've been there, unless you lived there and experienced it, it's hard to explain to someone going through it is one thing, but to live there, I've lived there the better part of my life, Skip. So I know, and I'm from Atlanta is one thing. When you start going south, it's a whole different animal.
Which is why, in the end, NASCAR just made the loudest statement in all that we've seen in sports over the last 2 weeks. This resounded to me.
Yeah. Whew. It is. But Skip, like I said, I don't really know if they had a chance, especially where all the, a choice with their sponsors. You got to look at that, Skip. That's a lot of money coming in too now, because you don't want them to start pulling. Like, hold on, you still gonna fly the flag? So they start pulling.
I know, I got it, but there is risk involved.
Yes.
And now it's incumbent upon NASCAR to try to figure out how to police this, and that will be the next frontier for them.
Yes, because it's gonna be tough, Skip. I mean, you're talking about 80, 100,000 people going. Maybe if just 10,000 bring a flag, Skip. You're going to spend all your time taking flags as opposed to watching the race. But,
well, God bless them.
That's the right thing to do.
Yep, it was.
An overdue but spot on and necessary move from NASCAR. All right.
No mercy.
The Panthers moved the statue of former owner Jerry Richardson from the front of their stadium to an undisclosed location. A team spokesperson said the organization was aware of attempts to take down the statue due to Richardson's past allegations of sexual and racial misconduct. So, Shannon, what will his legacy be?
It is, Skip. He will be remembered. He did bring professional sports to a football team, NFL team, to Carolina. He did do that.
To a region.
That really is college heavy. So he did do that.
Yep.
But he's going to be remembered for why he had to sell this team. Jerry Richardson's history on with race issues is undeniable. Skip, co-founded, I think it was Hardee's and Denny's.
Correct.
And in 93, 94, he had to pay over $54 million settlement for discriminatory practices.
Yep.
He also entered into a settlement with an African-American scout, and when he addressed him in a racial slur.
He did.
And then the bombshell was this Sports Illustrated article. And through an outside investigation, it was
mostly about sexual harassment.
Right. Yeah. Through an outside investigation, they came in and said these claims were substantiated. And he was forced. He had no choice.
No.
The NFL was going to, he did before the NFL was going to ask him to, because they don't want that, Skip. And so Jerry Richardson, this is the last thing on his resume, but it's going to move to the top of his resume, Skip. This is how he's going to be remembered, Skip.
Yeah.
This is, unfortunately, this is it. When Cam Newton came out, he asked Cam, "You have any tattoos?" "No, sir." "You have any body piercing, earrings?" "No, sir." "Good, keep it that way." Huh? Do you believe he would have asked Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, any of those questions? Absolutely not.
And by the way, soon after they drafted Cam #1 overall, he asked him, "You didn't get crazy on draft night and go out and get some tattoos, right, that I need to take a look at?" "No, sir." "No, sir."
But my thing is, Skip, hold on. I don't even know why David Tepper, I think that was the new owner, why he even agreed that the statue had to stay up. Skip, how the hell you going to...
It was part of the deal. Yes.
Skip, how are you going to sell... Okay, oh, man, I love that house. I'm going to buy the house. What do you want for it? Okay, I'll pay that. But I got to leave your picture up in the bedroom. What the hell? What I got to... No.
Or your statue out on the lawn.
Yes. So basically, you got to leave my picture up so everybody can see it. Skip, look, I know what they're saying right now, but they've always wanted to remove this statue knowing what he represented.
Yep.
And this was an opportunity. It's almost very different, though. If you look at Skip, the officer that did what he did to George Floyd, his wife is divorcing him. Well, she always wanted a divorce, but this was an easy way out. They always wanted to take the statue down. Now they got, Skip, I think right now we don't want anything to happen to it. They would love something to happen to that statue. It would save them the headache of having to explain. Now, the question is Mr. Richardson, because it's in the contract, Skip, the statue stays. So is there any legal issues that might face Mr. Tepper? I hope not, but Skip, this was the right thing to do. It was absolutely the right thing to do. And Mr. Richardson, his resume, his discriminatory practices, his racial slurs in addressing certain African-American employees, and his behavior, assault, that's on his resume, Skip. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's unfortunately, but it's going to outweigh what he did to bring a professional football team to Carolina.
There might have been another way to eliminate the statute. Just leave it outside, right? Because I'm not sure it would have lasted much longer. Am I right?
They take it down, statue. You're absolutely right. You see what they did to Christopher Columbus? They took his head off.
Took the head off. Decapitated it.
And in Britain, they took down the whole, they took a whole statue and threw it in the ocean.
They did. That was in Britain, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Shannon, it's shameful to me that there was this statue in the first place. It's given this man's history. This is about as close as you can get to one of the Civil War statues that people are so offended by now.
Right.
It's at least in the ballpark. And I remind everyone, it came into being because the minority owners of the Panthers, when Jerry Richardson turned 80 back in 2016, decided to give him a gigantic statue, an oversized statue of himself. It's 13 feet tall, weighs almost 5,000 pounds. And when I say minority owners, I'm not talking about their skin color.
Right.
I'm talking about the shares that they held were fewer than his shares. So they're going to honor the majority shareholder with the statue.
Right.
That's how it came into being. And of course, Mr. Richardson loved that statue probably as much as anything that anybody ever gave him. And he loved it so much, he wanted it in perpetuity to be part of this deal.
Yes.
So I want to go back to what you pointed out. As he was applying for ownership in the National Football League, his track record in the restaurant business was getting worse and worse.
Yes.
It's a little shameful to me that he even got approved to become an NFL owner. When you look at the depth and breadth of the violations, because he had been sued, as you point out, multiple times by black people through the Denny's chain, accused of segregating black patrons and requiring them to prepay for meals and make various other payments not required of white patrons. And the tipping point there was when 6 black Secret Service agents assigned to protect, at that point, President Clinton, tried to be seated at Denny's and were denied a seat, and they were with 3 or 4 other white Secret Service representatives who were immediately seated. That was a tipping point because that became a firestorm that got all the way to the Oval Office, okay? So, as you point out, $54 million had been paid out to that point as he's applying for ownership. $54 million in lawsuits? What? And Fortune magazine called the company, quote, a shameful example of entrenched prejudice. Okay, so if you approve him as an owner, what do you think you're going to get?
Yeah.
More of the same?
He ain't going to change.
No?
And plus the fact, Skip, why would I change if I'm getting rewarded? I own these 2 Hardee's and Denny's. I got this, and I'm benefiting. And now I get an opportunity to get into one of the most exclusive clubs in all the world. So why the hell would I change my behavior? I'm getting rewarded. I'm leveling up.
Ooh, wow. So Jerry Richardson was from small town South Carolina, went to what's called Wofford College.
He gives a lot of money back to Wofford. As a matter of fact, summer training is at Wofford.
Okay. And he played some pro football.
Yeah.
Played for a couple of years for the then Baltimore Colts. Played in the
58
championship game and caught a touchdown pass from the great Johnny Unitas.
He did.
And of the owners, he was the first owner since George Halas who actually played pro football. Jerry Jones obviously played at Arkansas College football.
Right.
So he had a lot going for him that way. And he's a charismatic man. He's got stature about him and sort of presence about him. And he was looked at as a founding father of pro football in the Carolina region and became, dare I say, beloved because of that. Until it finally took a 2017 expose by Sports Illustrated to bring him down, built mostly on the sexual harassment claims.
Correct.
And he had paid off, settled a lot of those lawsuits internally. Right? So when you tell me that man still has, it's being protected right now, but still has a statue outside that stadium, that's just not right.
Well, take it to him, say, since you love it so much, here it is. Put it at your property or your house.
Your house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want it, I mean, you like it that much.
Okay. So to me, in the end, there shouldn't be much pride that he was the owner of this team, right?
No.
Okay.
And I think, isn't that what they said, Skip? You know, turning the chapter, turning the page, moving on. Because as long as that statue is up there, Skip, you walk by it. I mean, it's at the entrance. If I'm not mistaken, Skip, I think it's at the entrance. So you got to walk by it. You don't want, no.
Flanked by 2 giant, literal panthers, right?
And so I think the thing is that, yes, you want to remove as much of the history of the Carolina Panthers. Not everybody's going to remember he was the owner. He's the founder of the Carolina Panthers. We get all of that. But it's Skip, if you can try and move as far away from him as you possibly can, I think the better for the organization it's going to be, especially in today's climate, because his history, ain't no arguing, ain't no denying it, what his history is with race in this country and how he perpetuated it through his businesses. That's fact.
And it got to the point where he even told a lot of black players, no dreadlocks. Don't like the look. It's bad for our image, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you would think, Skip, I mean, as a matter of fact, he had a heart transplant a couple of years ago, Skip, and that still ain't changing. You think you get a cigarette, you get transplants, like, man, okay, I need to do right by people and make sure, hey.
So may I point out one more time, new day, new dawn.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, open season on racism and any racist symbols. That statue, to me, represents racism.
It's him.
Yes.
And he's a representation of the system that we're trying to change. He is a representation of that. But guess what, Skip? And the thing is, what kills me is that, he's conservative. He goes to church. He loves the Bible. And that was the behavior he would display. So what they say about the Bible about that, Skip? I think they say something about how to treat people and love your neighbor like you love yourself.
Yep. So to quote the great Spike Lee, great movie that he once did, it's time to do the right thing.
Yep.
And the right thing would be to remove that statue from public view, to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. But Skip, I believe he knew that if he didn't include that into the contract, as soon as that man got off, he was going to be taken down. That's why he put it in the contract. That's why he did it, because he knew.
Well, I think there's now a new loophole in the contract.
Yeah.
Former outfielder and five-time All-Star Torii Hunter said in an interview last week that he had been called racial slurs by Red Sox fans over 100 times in his career. The Red Sox organization came out with a statement yesterday saying that Hunter's comments are true and racism in Boston is real. The team said they are committed to, quote, using our platform to amplify the many voices who are calling out injustice. Shannon, do you like what the Red Sox said here?
I love it. I love it. I love that they put their fans on notice, because for the longest time, we're just passionate. We're just like any other fan base. We're passionate. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, a Boston radio station had Adam Jones, formerly of the Orioles, on, and he was talking about it, and it's like, prove it.
Correct.
The man said they threw a bag of peanuts at it. They hurled slur after slur after slur. Torii Hunter had it in his contract. He cannot be traded to the Boston Red Sox.
Even though he said he always wanted to play for the Red Sox, but not at Fenway.
Exactly.
If they played 162 on the road, he'd be a Red Sox, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that just lets you know, Skip, it puts their fans on notice. This is not passion. Racial slurs and hate isn't passion.
Yeah.
That's sometimes y'all get those things confused. You think pride is hatred, is racial epithets. No, it's not. Skip, for the Red Sox to admit this, because for the longest time, a lot of teams swept it under the rug. We just have a very passionate fan base. You know, the term that a lot of people like to use, and I'm hearing a lot of, it's a few bad apples. Well, damn, if you got 100 bad apples and you only got a barrel of 100 apples, 105 apples, well, you just would throw the whole barrel away.
Yep.
Says we had 7 confirmed. Reported.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Not the ones that were not reported.
Mm-hmm.
So, Skip, and for me, I'm not shocked at all. There have been a lot of media pundits that, I don't believe that. You know, it never happened to me. He didn't say it happened to you. He said it happened to him. And you don't look like him. But, Skip, I'm not surprised. If they did what they did to the greatest winner in team sport history, and he's an icon, he was supposedly beloved there. If they did that to him, visiting players have no chance. Zero chance. So I'm not surprised, and I am glad the Red Sox stepped up. Now, the next thing to do is what is that, Pocky? Isn't that one of the former owners?
Yawkey.
Yawkey Way,
Yes. Okay, but they changed that back to the original name, Jersey Street. But go.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, Skip, I mean, what do you think people, Skip, you think black people like making that up? Oh, I got called in, or I got called this, or I got a bag of peanuts, or I got a banana. Why is somebody going to lie about something like that? That ain't no badge of courage. That ain't something to be proud of. They make it seem like, oh, yeah, well, if you say that, you know, that means no.
Remember, Torii Hunter didn't say, I got called the N-word a couple of times. He said 100 times.
100. Adam, the radio station called Adam Jones. He didn't call them. And then they called the man a lie. They need to go ahead and issue an apology to that man. Because Adam Jones, you know, when he raised, he's like huge with like 3 or 4 U's in that thing, Skip.
Yeah.
Everybody airing out their dirty laundry, Skip. Everybody had a lot of dirty laundry that need to be clean. And so, you know, Skip, I know you know, but these young people don't know anything about the clothesline. See, back in the day, we had no money getting no wash and dry. And my grandma, we had a clothesline. And my grandma would tell my brother, hey, boy, go hang them clothes up. We hang them on the clothesline, throw them across the fence, let that sun get them, Skip. But everybody saw, they drove by, they could see all your dirty clothes, your underwear, all kind of stuff, Skip, hanging on the clothesline.
I also lived that life.
Okay. I know you know what I'm talking about.
I do. So once again, bravo, Red Sox ownership. Finally, they owned the racism that has afflicted this franchise for more than 100 years.
Yes.
And for them to issue a statement that says Torii Hunter's experience is real. If you doubt him because you've never heard it yourself, take it from us. This is from ownership. It happens. Last year, there were, as you point out, there were 7 reported incidents at Fenway Park where fans used racial slurs. Those are just the ones we know about, says Red Sox ownership. Mm-hmm. Shannon, it's a new day and a new way. Mm-hmm. You got us. Mm-hmm. We give up.
Yep.
We have to change this. Finally, they're no longer trying to camouflage the ugly truth about this organization. And may I tell a quick story, a quick personal anecdote. 1976, I'm still a Cub reporter at the Miami Herald. They assigned me to go to Boca Raton, the Boca Raton Hotel, because there was some sort of event there just before spring training started, featuring lots of baseball stars. Just see who you can find and do a feature.
Okay.
Guess who I found? I found a Boston Red Sox player named Jim Rice. Do you remember Jim Rice?
I do remember Jim Rice, yeah.
From South Carolina, Andersonville?
Anderson, South Carolina.
Anderson, yeah, it's just Anderson, South Carolina. Jim Rice was in his second year. His first year, he had been third in MVP voting at age 22, and you could see he was coming, and he is now in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Right.
A slugger, if there ever was one, who looked the part. Mm-hmm. So I caught up with Jim Rice, who agreed to sit with me in the lobby of that hotel. And as I told you yesterday, I was always comfortable talking race. And one thing led to another with Jim Rice. I don't know how we got on the subject. Mm-hmm. At that point, I'd never even set foot in Boston, Massachusetts.
Right.
And he began to tell me about how racist the culture was at Fenway Park, mm-hmm. and how he was experiencing racial hate as a rising star of the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, later I found out Bill Russell just lived it in the late 50s through the 60s as the first black superstar in Boston.
Yep.
But here came Jim Rice in the sport of baseball, which was, it's the most hallowed sport in Boston, New England, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's grassroots, and here comes a black rising star, mm-hmm. and he's not a visiting player. He's on the home team.
Yes.
And he's experiencing racial hate. Well, you know me. I wrote it. And I wrote it hard. I was not a columnist, so there's no opinion in it. I just quoted Jim Rice.
Right.
Verbatim.
Right.
Top to bottom.
Oh, he really got it.
Kaboom. And so did I.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about national firestorms, but this was my first. And there was no such thing at that point in the 70s as sports talk radio.
Right.
But there were radio stations in Boston, and I got 2 in my little mailbox at the Miami Herald. I got 2 requests, call back to Boston radio stations, and I called them both. And they took me to task on the air. How dare you? It was classic kill the messenger.
Right.
Did you exaggerate? Did you embellish? No, I just quoted him, and I tried to hang in and stand up for myself, and they were irate. And they wanted to condemn me for giving him a platform that obviously put them in a really bad spot.
Right. Yes.
Well, this had been going on way before Jim Rice, because you brought up, his name was Tom Yawkey. He became the owner at age 30 in 1933. And he was known for resisting any black players in the sport of baseball. And obviously, Jackie Robinson broke through in 1947. Jackie was finished by 1956. That was his career.
Yeah.
It took the Red Sox 3 more years until 1959 before they had their first black player. Think about that. Jackie Robinson came and he went.
Right.
He finished his career, and it took 3 more years before the Red Sox allowed any black players, and their first was named Pumpsy Green. I don't know if you remember Pumpsy Green.
I don't.
It's one of the great baseball names ever.
Yep.
I just love that name. It just just rolls right off the Pumpsy Green.
Yep.
He was the first breakthrough black player for the Boston Red Sox. Well, that's shameful to me.
Yes.
And Yawkey's history was shameful. So finally, they said, let's change the street by Fenway from Yawkey way back to its original designation, which was Jersey Street, except I read this last night, just a quick point of order. Jersey Street was initially named for the Isle of Jersey, which is just south of England. Mm-hmm. And it was populated by aristocrats who built their fortunes trading slaves. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if Jersey Street is much better than Yawkey Way, just for the record, but they didn't. Again, that was not intentional. It's just they missed the history there.
Yeah. I mean, don't normally, Skip, you do history to understand. You're like, oh, I don't think we should really name it that because it's really no different. It might be even worse.
Okay. All right. So then came the Adam Jones incident in question that you talked about, and it was as ugly as it gets. And Adam Jones, to his credit, stood up and talked about it after the game. And then he got condemned for it as if he made it up or just greatly exaggerated.
Because that's what normally happens. Oh, you're just making it up to try to make us look bad. No, y'all do that yourself. You've been doing it for 100 years.
Yep.
I don't need to. I just tell people what your fans have been saying to me while I'm in the outfield.
Okay.
That's it.
So then we had this quote-unquote incident that took place in 2017, and we were on the air here on Undisputed, and we talked about it, and it gave us a little cause to pause the next day. But remember, 3 young white, there were like 20-something white people, were up in the bleachers above the green monster left field wall. And they suddenly, in the 4th inning, dropped a banner over the wall, and it said, "Racism is as American as baseball."
Right.
Well, the next day, we're like, it was cloudy for us, a little murky, because are you applauding it? Are you embracing it? Or are you criticizing it?
Right.
Well, they were trying to criticize, but it wasn't crystal clear what the message was.
Right.
Racism is as American as baseball.
Right.
Okay, is that a good thing or a bad thing? We're not sure which one are you saying. And so obviously security.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand. That was their point.
Yes.
And that group represented a new movement called Black Lives Matter. That was in 2017.
Correct.
Okay. So then there were lots of quotes from those 3 about, no, we're trying to draw attention to the history of racism at Fenway Park.
Right.
They were Bostonians. I think they were college kids, but they were trying to draw national attention with this banner to what had been a 100-year problem.
Right.
And yet I think they chose the wrong phrase, because that even the next day we were a little
I was like
we think we get it, but we're not sure. It could have been a little more blatant, than that. So the point is, we came full circle from Tom Yawkey to the current newer ownership group in Boston.
Right.
And they just said, that's enough.
Right.
Well, that's a new day, because this is a last bastion, too.
Yeah, for the ownership to say it's real, it's true.
Real.
For the ownership group. That says, I'm sure there have been times, but there's like, no, this is real. This happens. And the fact that because Skip, the Boston fans, man, they something, Skip. Oh, that ain't us. We just pride. We just love our teams. Okay. You can love your team without saying racially motivated and sensitive things, without being you can do that.
Yeah.
But you guys take it over the edge and say things that you know. But Skip, there's a saying that says a drunk mouth will speak sober mind thoughts. Skip, it's hard for me to believe a drunk person does things they haven't at least thought about while sober. Drunk gives you courage. It breaks down your inhibitions where you might have been fearful of saying it. Then you blame it on what? Alcohol. So that's what happens when they say things like, well, he had beer, he was drunk. Oh, he thought about that. And the alcohol gave him an out. Nah, that don't work for me, bro.
So a little later in the show, we're going to talk about some comments made by Benjamin Watson, a former first-round pick of the New England Patriots.
Yes.
And his bottom line is, it's time for white America to look in the mirror. It's time for those white fans at Fenway to look hard into the mirror. It's enough. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah, Sharpe.
I liked your analogy, Shannon, of avoiding dirty laundry. We're not avoiding this anymore.
Yeah.
We're not avoiding talking about it. We're addressing it. There's real issues in this country.
No mercy.
LeBron James and a group of other celebrities are starting a group aimed at protecting voters' rights for African Americans. In a phone interview, LeBron said, quote, "This is the time for us to finally make a difference." So, Shannon, how much impact will this have?
I think it's going to have a huge impact. Skip, LeBron James, he's always been very outspoken, especially with issues dealing with underprivileged being served. He feels that voices aren't being heard. and he will speak out. He will lend his voice. He will lend his money. And he will lend his backing to causes that he deems worthy of having the black voice heard. Skip, I think something else is really eating at LeBron. He's made it abundantly clear he has no love. Have no feelings for the man that holds the Oval Office. And I think what's rankling LeBron is he's doing something next week, Skip. He's having a rally on June 19th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And for a little backdrop, Skip, June 19th
I know
is when Texas was the last state, even though they were way, way west, and we don't really consider Texas, but it was the West. The emancipation freed the slaves in 1863. But it was hard to enforce, Skip, because they were still fighting. And once the Union won the Civil War, the governor announced that the slaves were officially free. Now the Union soldiers could come in and could enforce it. And so Juneteenth is a celebration. It's a free date. He's doing this in Tulsa, which is still considered the bloodiest racial war in American history.
1921.
1921.
Yep.
A white mob over 2 days burned it. It's called Black Wall Street. They burned it to the ground.
And by the way, did you see Russell Westbrook is going to do a documentary?
Yes, I'm glad. But there have been several histories in that, Skip. When we were talking about it last week, what do you think? I said, I need, if the white that's listening, go read the Elaine Massacre. Read the Red Summer Massacre or Rosewood or this Tulsa. And it'll give you a glimpse into how riots and what it was meant to do. But Skip, LeBron James is, man, Skip, he's on another level, Skip. He's like, no. We gonna get out. We gonna do this thing. We put it up, Skip. LeBron James is making it his personal mission. I believe this is as important to him as winning an NBA title. He's making it his personal mission, Skip, to get someone else in the White House. And he's like, I'm calling on all my athletes. I'm calling on all my movie stars and superstars. Look, we're going to get people out to vote because we need change. We're getting worse.
Yep.
Not better. We're not coming together. We're not seeing each other. We're not hearing each other. And that's because of the message that's coming from the top and it's trying to divide us. And I'm not going to let that happen. I can't stand by idly and do nothing when I have this voice. Skip through his social media platforms, 112 million followers.
Yep.
And so for me, Skip, LeBron James is not only letting his words, but his actions.
Yep.
When what happened in Georgia with those long lines and the voter suppression, and like I said, voter suppression is legal or illegal. Anything you do to try to keep people from registering to vote or actually voting. He said, nah, that's enough. I see what y'all trying to do, and we ain't gonna let that happen.
Yep.
So, Skip, this dude's on another level, Skip. And I've never seen anything like this, Skip. I don't know if we've ever seen a guy this big be so active in anything socially, because like I said, it's good to be morally conscious, but LeBron James is extremely socially conscious. And he's on another level right now.
He is. This is another development that made me sit back and say, finally. So often I've heard people over the years, when any sort of conflict arises, say, it's time for change. And my first question is always, how? Show me how. Don't tell me it's time.
Right.
Show me how.
Right.
This is how. This is not the proverbial lip service.
Right.
There's been down through the years too much lip service. Too many empty words are spoken about. It's time to act.
Right.
It's not time to speak. It's time to act. And again, I'm proud of LeBron. I applaud, I laud. This is the essence of LeBron James and his power. Social media. He's in a new age of social media, and he is going to utilize it to its highest degree. And also, in combination with Maverick Carter, who, for those who don't know, he's been LeBron's business partner from the start. Maverick Carter is a powerhouse, a deep thinker who's always ahead of the curve, both in Hollywood and on Madison Avenue and on Wall Street. And if Maverick gets behind this kind of platform, it will work. this endeavor will work because they already have Kevin Hart. They have a lot of athletes involved, and it will grow.
I think Stacks is Steve Jackson is going to be involved in the Houston
obviously,
area.
yes, he is. And I loved what LeBron said yesterday, the New York Times, because of everything that's going on, people are finally starting to listen to us, to the black community. Yes, 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 they are. Ears, eyes wide open right here, right now. The window is open, but you have to act. You can't just talk about it. You have to act on it. And you and I talked about, is this a watershed moment? We brought it up 2 weeks ago. Feels like it could be.
Like it does.
Okay, but you have to seize the moment.
Yes.
You can't let it pass by saying, boy, this feels good. You better make it happen now.
Yes, Skip, there's a saying in politics, you never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah, that's true.
Do not let this opportunity, and it's sad that a man had to lose his life to open America's eye to what's going on in America. But we will not let this go. And so change is going to happen. And he got some heavy hitters. He got the guy that ran Gavin Newsom's 2018 governor campaign. He also was on the campaign manager for Cory Booker's 2020 presidential run. So he has some heavy hitters.
He does.
In his corner to say, okay, this is the way we need to maneuver it. This is how we do it. This is how we get our message out. This is how we outreach. Skip, LeBron James, Skip, for a lot of times, for a lot of black athletes, especially of LeBron James, it didn't reach them. Gated community, unimpacted by this, that's not my problem. But LeBron James said, yes, it is my problem. I just don't think about me. I think about my people. I think about my entire race of people. And although, yes, I'm making $100 million a year, but what about the guy that's not? What about the woman that's not? And I think LeBron looks at it, Skip, because LeBron grew up with a single parent, not having a dominant male figure in his life. And he saw the hardships, and so he knows what it's like to go to bed hungry or not know, well, I'm staying with grandma tonight, I'm staying with a friend the next night, and I'm over here the next night. So LeBron, Skip, that never left him. And sometimes we, and I'm just talking about us as African Americans, we get from where we forget where we came from and how it came to be. And like, well, I made it out, you can make it out. But LeBron James is one of the few, and he's not the only one, but there are others. But LeBron James is the superstar magnified times 50 that says, you know what, it's just not good enough for me to be successful. It's just not good enough for a handful of guys and gals to have voices. I want my people's voice heard. Whatever I can do to make sure their voices get amplified, to make sure they can get seen by the spotlight of LeBron James, that's what I'm going to do.
So LeBron is saying, we have the white community's attention right now, or all other colors' attention.
Yes.
But he's speaking to the black community now. And he's saying, we're going to give you the background on how to vote and what they are trying to do he's talking about the other side, is trying to do to stop you from voting. Okay, these are actions. These aren't words. He's going to put it into power to show you, no, don't let them get away with that. We have to do this. Long voter lines, you have to persist, right? You have to be unsinkable in getting your vote
So
ready.
You might have to be hydrated. You might have to take some food with you.
You might have to.
And you might have to make it like a camping trip, Skip.
You might have to take that long
trip. Get your canteen. I don't know, people know about canteens, Skip, but you got to get you something, a thermos. Do they still call them thermoses? When you and I was going to school, they called them thermoses.
I think
I think they call them Yetis back. They call them Yetis. They get all these old sophisticated names. They're just old thermos. That's what we call them. But anyway, so it might take a while, but we're gonna be undeterred. Because Skip, that's what they count on. They count on breaking your will. All right, they're not gonna wait 5 hours. So they'll just turn and go. Nope. 24 hours. I don't care. We going. We're gonna vote. We're gonna see change.
Or maybe you go to a different poll. Maybe you go somewhere. I don't know. They're going to figure it out. Maverick Carter will help LeBron figure it out, how to direct people to get their vote cast. Because I'm pretty sure it's still a democracy, and I'm pretty sure you can still vote and elect.
If voting wasn't so important, why would they try to suppress it? There's a reason why when you walk into Tiffany's, everything is behind glass. They try to protect it. They don't want you to get at it, right, Skip? So there's a reason why they tried to stop you from doing it if it wasn't important.
last quick thought about Skylar Diggins is involved in this. I don't know if you know Skylar, but I got to know her.
WNBA, Notre Dame, yeah.
Now she's Skylar Diggins Smith.
Yeah.
But,
just had a child recently.
She is a deep thinker. Had her on the show a couple of times at ESPN, and she said yesterday, it's time to put some action behind my frustration, behind my anger, behind the helplessness that I've been feeling. That's it. That's the essence of what I've been trying to preach about here. It's time to do it, not say it. So this is action, and this will work. Okay, last quick thought about LeBron. He did tell the New York Times that hopefully someday down the line, people will recognize me not only for the way I approach the game of basketball, but the way I approach life as an African-American man. Okay, I get that. He doesn't need to say that right now. He's recognized. It's already happening to him. I don't need him to say, hopefully someday. The someday is now. You
know what? I think he wants. You know who he wants to get recognized by? I think the community. He knows his community is solely behind him. He want the other side to recognize. All right. Because it's hard, Skip. It's easy to say, but what he's doing, we haven't seen this before, Skip. He getting an untargeted.
He did point out that Ali and Bill Russell had to overcome obstacles that LeBron never had to talk about.
Got it. It's a different animal.
Okay, but this is acting. But this is utilizing. What'd you say? 112 million. Well, Muhammad Ali didn't have 112 million on social media because there was none. Bill Russell didn't have it. Even Colin Kaepernick, back when he began to kneel, didn't have this kind of power to wield.
No. And Skip, I think the thing is for LeBron is that back in the 60s, the money wasn't what it is now. LeBron is making $90 million a year, and the majority of his money comes from endorsement off the court. And I think as we started moving forward, as the endorsement money started to grow, athletes started to shy away from, because it wasn't just one demographic of people buying that said product. So you had to be careful not to tick off anybody that might buy orange juice or milk or buy a car or buy shoes, Skip. LeBron James says, I just can't be silent. I mean, if you can't see what's going on in America and want to see change, well, you probably shouldn't be buying my shoes anyway. You shouldn't be drinking the stuff what I'm drinking anyway, or driving the car what I'm driving.
I would agree. Yep, well said.
What I love so much is hearing you guys agree about LeBron.
Oh, go James! Oh, go!
No mercy. We've got a full weekend of NASCAR action coming your way from Miami, starting Saturday with the Xfinity Series on Fox, followed by the Truck Series over on FS1. Then Sunday, the NASCAR Cup Series continues with the Dixie Vodka 400 live at 3:30 Eastern, only on Fox. Well, guys, it took just 2 days for NASCAR to ban Confederate flags from racetracks after driver Bubba Wallace said it was the right thing to do in an interview on Monday night. Last night, Wallace said bravo and props to NASCAR for getting it done. Skip, are you surprised that NASCAR acted so quickly here?
Shannon Sharpe, you said earlier in the show you were not surprised because the tide has turned. I'm sorry, I'm still pleasantly, not just surprised, but shocked that it happened kaboom like that. Because NASCAR is still risking alienating a significant segment of its fandom. And it said, no, enough.
Yeah.
I remind you, back in 2015, the former chairman of NASCAR, Brian France, attempted to ban the flying of the Confederate flag at NASCAR races. The policy was instituted, and the backlash from that large segment of fandom was so severe that they could not enforce it. They even attempted a promotion. They said, bring your Confederate flag to the concession area. We'll exchange it for a brand new American flag. You can fly the American flag. Nope. No. Nobody did, or the very few did, obviously. Right. And yet, one more time, a tipping point that became a turning point happened on, of all days, Memorial Day. Thank you, God. No thanks for this, though, because an unarmed black man was killed in broad daylight, knee on neck on concrete, in Minneapolis by a white cop. But that did it. That opened the door. It's now open season on racism. Racists are being exposed and removed, and on racist symbols.
Yep.
They are being attacked and eliminated. What is the last vestige in sports of Deep South slavery? Well, there's only one, and it's that flag.
It's that flag. That's it, Skip.
It stood for the Confederate States who went to war with the North, and it was a bloody war, and it's still hard for me to grasp. I'm still fascinated by the Civil War, and I study the Civil War because I still can't believe it happened. We fought ourselves, and blood was shed from Vicksburg to Gettysburg, but the North prevailed. The right side won. Emancipation Proclamation, slaves freed, thanks in large part to Abraham Lincoln and U.S. Grant.
Right.
And I'm sorry, you can't cling to it. I went to school at Vanderbilt. That was the first time I was really exposed to that Confederate flag. I was viewed, when I was growing up, it's sort of like, it's called the rebel flag. It was almost like a symbol of rebellion, you know. But no, in the Deep South where I went to school, deeper South,
Ole Miss, that's their.
There you got it. You got it. They were the rebels.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Some would argue with me that I went to school with, no, it's just a symbol of our pride in our region. It's like SEC kind of pride. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of that. But in the end, bottom line, it stands for the South shall rise again.
Right.
And the South stood for slavery.
Right.
And the ugliest form of racism imaginable. And in the end, it stood for torture and lynchings. And you just can't abide it in 2020. We now have 2020 hindsight.
Right.
And you even NASCAR has to say no. And I'm so proud of the people who run this organization because they immediately stood up, thanks to Bubba Wallace, the lone black driver, and they said, he's right, it's over. We have to reinforce a policy that was already in place. They kept the policy in place. They said, we're disallowing the flying of the Confederate flag. That's been on the books for 5 years.
Right.
Okay, now it's going to be policed. Not sure how.
Right.
They didn't specify how. It will be very difficult to police it because you got infields full of RVs.
Yes.
What would you say? Could there be, I don't know how many thousand people, 50,000 people in RVs in the infield?
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm just talking about in the infield.
Oh, yeah. With all those cars, Skip, I mean, you're talking about, 500, maybe, 250, 500 RVs on the infield. And they like to sit around and have the flags hanging out the back of the RV Winnebago. There's
going to be backlash.
Yes,
there's going to be rebellion.
Yes.
There's going to be retaliation. Many will resist and fly the flag. Many fans in the stands like to drape themselves or wave their Confederate flags. They will attempt to. You have to stamp it out. You got to stand by a new policy because it's a new day and a new way.
Right.
And I don't envy them trying to enforce this, but God help them. They made the right move, and it's still a bold move, and it's a great move, and it's removing the last vestige in sports of that old South slavery. And here we go, and I just hope they can pull off convincing maybe a majority of their fandom, we just can't do this anymore. You can still love us without flying that flag.
Exactly. Skip, the thing is that when Abraham Lincoln in 1863 signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and slaves really didn't get freedom until 1865.
Yep.
Skip, it's like with any law. If there's no one there to enforce it, who's going to pass? Skip, the only reason people don't speed more is because the likelihood that there are police officers. Where there's no police officer or we don't see them for an extended period of time, you're going to speed. Well, the South was like, well, hell, y'all say no slavery, what y'all going to do about it? Ain't nobody down here to stop us. So they kept it going. So we had to fight. And the Confederate, Skip, they didn't keep the U.S. flag. They came up with their own flag because that's what they believe in. A flag is supposed to be a symbol, a representation of what you believe. The South believed in slavery. Skip, they wanted to forego federal law and retain some state rights. But the number one state right they wanted was what? Slavery. What that flag represented. And so finally, and like I said, Skip, I'm not surprised because of the climate. Skip, it's 212 degrees. It's boiling. There's nowhere, it ain't no lukewarm. It ain't it's fire hot.
Yep.
And so they really didn't have a choice, Skip. Now, even though it was a very unpopular decision within their base, they made the right decision. And it's hard, Skip. It's hard to do what is unpopular at the time. And so by them doing this, but I think the time is right now. Nationally, maybe not with their base. It might not be the cool or in vogue thing, but nationally it's right. And with sponsors, Skip, I just saw with Walmart, because a lot of the black products were behind cases. Well, white products, you can just go grab them and get what you want. Right. Black products, you had to, excuse me, could I, what the hell is that? I want to, pick the stuff up and look at it and see if, So Walmart, so there are a lot of things that's going on, Skip, like I said.
That's a good one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody, Skip, has their laundry, or ain't no more got to dry in the house and you can dry your stuff inside. Everybody's laundry is on the clothesline. So I can see drawers, I can see bra, I can see everything out there. And so that's what this has done over the last 2.5 weeks. That's what it's done. And NASCAR had to look at itself, because it's like, man, here it is, 2020, and we're still allowing this Confederate flag to fly, knowing what it represents. You can say all the pride you want to. Yep. So what are you prideful about? Because, Skip, remember, you say, it's my Southern roots. You do know what the South was about, right? You do know why they went to war. Their treasonous self. Skip, you do know, like you said yesterday, we fought amongst ourselves because one side wanted to keep slaves, keep that economic base, and the other side says, no, we're not.
Yep. It was about economics, but no, really it was about we got a free workforce here.
Yes.
Because we own our workforce.
Cotton was the big thing. My mom, my grandfather, my grandmother, my oldest uncle, they picked cotton. And my mom picked a little, but as my grandmother started having more kids, my mom, the oldest girl, had to take care of the kids. Yep. But they were still in them cotton fields. Cotton was huge in the South. Before they came over, the cotton gins, the black people was cotton gin. Was picking cotton. Before they came over with cotton pickers, the blacks were the cotton pickers. And the farming was huge. That was it. What do you think they did? Free labor, Skip. And they had plantations. They had hundreds of acres for free. Ain't got to pay nothing. And then, you eating scraps. So, yeah. And it's like, no. So that's what that flag represents. Anybody that thinks that flag represents something other than that is sadly mistaken. That flag was not founded. At least you can make the argument. People say, well, when America was founded, it was free and the home of the brave, and men were supposed to be treated equally. The Confederate, okay, so when you founded your symbol, what did you find the flag based on? What was it supposed to be?
Yep.
Well, we had this thing called slavery, and we really liked it, and we wanted to keep it going. So racism and bigotry and hatred, that's what So what? I don't get it, Skip. And you think about it, Skip, it doesn't even matter. And when they say this, you look at all these far-right groups or these hate groups, Skip, they say the South will rise again. Hell, you in Germany. You're not from the South. You in the Netherlands. You overseas. How the hell you talking about you gonna rise again? You see what it is? So it doesn't matter the language. It doesn't matter the location. Everybody knows what that symbol is, Skip. It's automatic. So, and plus you caught the L. Skip, you don't get to catch an L and then fly your flag. Bring it down. I'm like, why y'all putting up all these monuments of losers? Stonewall Jackson was on the losing side. General Lee was on the losing side. How he got more monuments than Grant? What the hell is that, Skip?
Southern pride.
I mean, look, I think the mailman was great, but mailman should have more statues than Jordan.
Yeah.
You lost out, and y'all still holding on to that. Let it go.
And can we also once more applaud Bubba Wallace?
Yes.
Lone black driver.
Yeah.
He's been very open about his issues fighting depression. I have to believe that some subliminal stress has been caused by having to compete in an environment in which Confederate flags are being waved.
Right. Skip, I remember growing up, Skip, and I really did, they didn't teach the history that I ended up learning. I didn't think anything about it. Guys had the rebel flags and bumper stickers. But I didn't, I'm like, we didn't have a whole lot of, I think the biggest racial thing that we had is when Roots came out. Now that set it off, obviously, because that was the first time to see the depiction of Oh, that's what slavery was really? I mean, Skip, because you could read it. But when Alex Haley brought it to film and it actually showed the whippings and the things of that nature, oh, man, Skip, it set it off in a lot of counties. And so that was really the first time. But, you know, somebody, you know, get upset and say something flip and, you know, you had to lump them up right quick. But other than that, Skip, it was like you didn't really, I didn't think it. I mean, they wore those the gray hats that they wore in the Confederacy. I mean, the guys wore them.
Yep.
But it wasn't like, you know, you slap it off the head. I'm like, okay, fine.
Johnny Reb.
Yeah. And long you didn't say the N-word or something, you know, foul, you were cool.
Yep.
But it's a new day, Skip.
It's a new day, and it's time for white America or Southern white America to just give that up and move on and let it go. Right. Because it's just time to acknowledge what Black America has had to go through because you keep waving that.
Yes. I'm proud. I just want to know what you're proud of. What is the pride? Yeah. So I'm glad, Skip, but I'm not surprised. Like I said, these sponsors, they're moving quick. I mean, big corporations that would have never, Walmart, y'all had these Black products behind glass cases for 30 years. Mm-hmm. But now, Skip, everybody moving it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, NASCAR.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Overdue but necessary move from NASCAR. Well said.
No mercy.
Super Bowl champion tight end Ben Watson said that during his 15 seasons in the NFL, he definitely had plenty of racist teammates. He also spoke on how individual people can learn and move on. Take a listen.
I have plenty of racist teammates.
You have plenty of racist teammates?
Of course. Racism is, again, it's in how we frame racism. You know, because the KKK and people that say the N-word at you, that's easy to see. But that's not really the issue. The real racism is the one who's in the living room with his kids watching a show or talking about something in the news, and he's saying things that when I talk to the kid who's grown now, said, yeah, man, my father used to say this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily a teammate I see that tells me he's racist. That's not happening. But of course, we encounter racists every day.
All right, Shannon, what is your reaction to what Ben had to say?
I'm not surprised. Skip, I can honestly say now, when I was in Baltimore, let me start backwards. When I went to Baltimore, Skip, I don't remember a white guy on the defense. There were very few white guys. I mean, that was the blackest team I've ever been a part of. So I don't recall.
2000
in 2000, 2002. I played 2000, 2001 with the Ravens. So I don't recall really anything of that nature that would set off my antenna. Now, when I was in Denver, the offensive lineman, you know what they used to call me, Skip? Shannon Sharpton. Ooh. In reference to Reverend Al Sharpton. So you know, Skip, they were on alert what to say and how to say it around me because they always swore I was a troublemaker, just looking to cause trouble because that's what a lot of people.
Did you take them to task occasionally?
I would, you know, Skip. I would just, you know, there are certain things that I saw. I mean, it wasn't like race. They wouldn't, you know, but they just knew. I think they knew, like, he's from the South. He's on a different vibe. So all that funny stuff. Be careful. You know, make sure you say a certain thing. All that, you know, that black this and how you saying it. If you saying it, trying to say it in a derogatory way, trying to be slick with it. I just need to know. So, but for me, Skip, maybe I think there are two that I might have thought had some, you know, some racism. Like Ben said, they're not gonna come out and say it. Not in the locker room. They would never say that. I mean, I've never heard the N-word uttered on the football field. I've never heard anything that would make me say, man, don't make me slap the, you know what I make me slap, Kurt's telling me, make me slap you in your mouth. I've never heard that, Skip. But Ben is right. There's subtle ways that they say certain things, and you might give I ain't mean it like that. But how the hell you mean it? So you have to be careful, Skip. But I've been very fortunate. I think for me is that being a black and fairly early on, Skip, I was even though I wasn't a leader per se, Skip, I've always had a voice. I've always voiced my opinion. And I was very strong, and I wasn't afraid to be the dissenting voice on something. And once I got to like year 4, you know, I was like, okay, I got my identity. And it didn't matter. If I didn't see something, if I didn't think something was right. But Skip, I think what Ben is saying, we got to stop this notion, well, they don't carry the Confederate flag, or they're not a member of the KKK, or they don't say the N-word. It's sometimes it's subconscious bias, Skip, that I was having a conversation with a white lady, a friend of mine, and she was explaining, said, well, Shannon, I got this black friend, and, you know, we've been friends for like 7 years. She's married. I'm like, wait a minute. I've never heard you explain any of your white friends as being married. Why would you mention that? Is it black people not supposed to get married? Or they're not supposed to stay married? I say, see, subconsciously, you didn't even know you were doing it. I say, because you've never described any of your white friends to me in that manner. So, Skip, it's sometimes they don't even know it because they've done it so much. And they do it around people that they do it also, so you don't know. It's kind of like, Skip, growing up like I grew up. I didn't know that you were supposed to have indoor plumbing because everybody that I knew didn't have indoor plumbing. Yep. So that was normal. So when you're around someone and they talk exactly like you think it's normal. So that, I believe that's what Ben now, and like, I can't speak to Ben because, like I said, Ben came in, I think my last year was Ben's first year. So he been in, and see now, Skip, you know what they're doing. Okay, he played in New England, he played in New Orleans, he played at Baltimore. They're trying to go back and trace who could he possibly be talking about. You know that's what they do, Skip. And you know people, the media in those locales, that's what they're trying to do. But he's right, it's hard for you, if a locker room is a microcosm of society, and there's racism in society, how did it not seep into the locker room?
Okay. So, for those who don't know Benjamin Watson, he grew up in Rock Hill, South Carolina. He originally went to Duke, transferred to school you know very well, University of Georgia, drafted late in the first round by Bill Belichick, in part because he scored the third highest Wonderlic test on record to date, to that date. And again, the Wonderlic has become very controversial because so many quarterbacks, black or white quarterbacks, have scored so low, and it's like, well, can they handle it?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't really indicate your ability to process football information.
That is correct.
Yeah. So Ben Watson also, at 260 pounds, ran 4.5. So he had the whole package.
Oh, yeah.
And he did, with the help of Tom Brady, obviously, he won the Donovan McNabb Philadelphia Super Bowl. So he got a ring with Tom Brady. Then he went on to other stops around the league.
That was like his first year, wasn't it, Skip? That
second
was his
year,
second year? Okay.
Yeah. And then in 2015, Benjamin Watson wrote a book called Under Our Skin, Getting Real About Race and Getting Free from the Fears and Frustrations that Divide Us All. Okay. Love that. But I love even more, he's done many interviews, and I saw another interview that he did this morning in which he was talking about overt and covert racism in the locker room. He said there's N-word KKK kind of racism, wear it on your sleeve kind of racism, where you just know.
Well, that's blatant, that's open.
Yes, but there's subtle, and you were referring to more subtle.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Look inside. Like, what?
Exactly.
What did you mean by that? And Benjamin said he would call that out on occasion in a nice way because he's a nice man.
Right.
But he's a tough man.
Right.
And a smart man. So he's talking about it's now time for white America to think about any workplace has all these same issues operating. Seriously, you know it and I know it. Every workplace has some forms of racism that are allowed to continue and sort of persist because of, as he talked about, you're allowing it to happen because of your silence in your workplace. You need to call it out. You need to challenge it in productive ways. And he said, America is now looking in the mirror. Is it?
Very much.
And he said, it's looking in the mirror because you turn on TV and you see so many people out protesting. And he said, they're not out there to get fresh air.
And you know who you're talking about, looking in the mirror? The white America is looking in the mirror and they see themselves out there like, what is this? That's us.
That's us. That's younger us.
Yes, yes.
And I told you from day one, I'm looking at the protests. Most of them I'm seeing in Southern California on local TV. And I told you, Shannon, I think last night at the one in downtown LA, I looked to my eye like there were more white, they're younger, they're white kids more, but I saw more white kids than I saw black protesters. Now that's a new day.
Right.
That's a new change. That's a new way because you now have the undivided attention,
right,
because of what happened on Memorial Day in Minneapolis, of white America in all colors. I don't want to make it just white, but when we boil down racial conflict in America, it's black, white, right, for the most part. So he's saying to white America, you have to look in the mirror. And he concluded in the interview I saw this morning, Benjamin did, a fool looks in the mirror and walks away unchanged. And right now, America can't be foolish.
Right.
It's time. The door is open. And he's just trying to say, just look in the mirror and then look around your workplace and don't allow that or that. These are sort of covert, little, they're subtle forms of racism.
Right.
Can't be allowed to exist anymore.
Skip, I remember I asked a white teammate of mine, I said, man, you going to the cafeteria? You going to the, he's like, yeah. I said, bring me some fruit back. I was just scared. I just test you know, I got to test him every once in a while.
Was he a rookie or?
No, he was like a second, third year player.
Okay.
And he brought me a piece of fruit back. But he didn't bring me one of those forbidden fruits. Because he knew.
Ooh. He
knew. Don't play with me. If I ask you for something, don't say, do you want don't say you want a banana. I'm gonna go, all right, I'm gonna go off.
Were you testing?
I was.
Okay.
I was. I just wanted to see something. Skip, we got to see. Sometimes you got to lay traps and see who gonna step in it. Just want to know.
Like DeMarcus Cousins did to Grant Napier, the long-time radio voice in Sacramento.
He passed with flying colors.
Yep.
I said, man, how you know I wanted this? He looked me dead in my eye. He said, I'm no dummy.
Like it.
I like it too,
Good
Skip.
for you.
But there's, like I said, like Ben made it clear, like nobody is foolish enough to be white and to say, yeah, I'm in the KKK or call somebody. It might have happened back in the early beginning, Skip, when they first integrated, but there's no way in hell you would find somebody to say that. Now, Rich Incognito, I don't know what kind of locker room they had, Skip, to let that fly. I don't know what.
It's a good point.
I don't know what kind of locker room they had to let that fly. That'd never flow in the locker room that Shannon Sharpe was in. No. Never, ever, ever. And
or that Ray Lewis was in.
No. He had to go. Well, they just drug him out. Man, there ain't no sense in society because you just go upside the head with a 20-pound plate, and that'll be the end of that. We don't play that stuff. But like I said, the locker rooms are a microcosm of society, it's hard to say, well, it exists out there, but not in here. And that's what got Coach Fangio for the Broncos in trouble. How you gonna say that? When you just saw, like 5 years ago, Riley Cooper, and then the Rooney Rule. Why you think the Rooney Rule's in place? If there was no racism, they wouldn't need no Rooney Rule, Skip.
And it's failing.
Yes. They added more teeth because I guess somebody had pulled the teeth out, so Rooney Rule only had like 4 or 5 teeth. So he got some implants, give him some teeth so he could hold on to something, Skip. So, yeah, it's sad that it's like, but it's funny though, Skip. It's funny that you could have a preconceived notion and then guy scored a touchdown, that's your guy, yada, 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 but then you just believe a certain, but that's in you. That's in you. Look, I'm trying to change people one at a time, but Skip, it's going to be hard. I left the conversation with my friend yesterday, and I still consider her a friend. I'm like, as open-minded as you are, this is how you think. Imagine people that's not even close to being as open-minded as you and how they think. Got a work cut out for it because they got a 400-year head start of feeling a certain type of way, Skip. So it's not going to change overnight. It's starting to change, but the change that we want inevitably to happen is going to be a long, arduous process.
The door is open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we walking in, too.
No mercy.
According to a report, there are some NBA players who are hesitant to restart the season in Orlando with 22 total teams. The League and Players Association are reportedly agreeing on a deal that would allow any players to stay home, but they would not get paid. So I'm curious, Shannon, if you were an NBA player, how concerned would you be?
If I don't have any underlying conditions, Skip, I'm not concerned.
Really?
No. I'm going to play. I'll be in the bubble. But I'm looking at me knowing how I was, is that sport was the most important thing. And the opportunity, I like being secluded. I mean, I like going to training camp. Now, this is going to be extra secluded.
It is.
Because basically they're saying really after for the first week or two, no one in or out, especially family members. And then you really can't leave the campus. And guys like, hold on, wait a minute. I can't leave at all? I mean, I can't go to the store. I can't go walk around. Nope. Because we can't afford you to come in contact with somebody that we don't know or we haven't tested. So we can't have you going out getting exposed and then coming back here and exposing someone else or exposing others. So I get it, Skip. You're asking an awful lot, Skip. You're putting people in it's almost like an experiment. You're putting them in a glass bubble.
Yep, for maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks,
yep.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tall tale, but knowing me, Skip, I would do it. Now, I'm not holding this against the 40 or 50 players or however many it is. I'm not holding this against them. Some people have real fears.
Yep.
And some people have conditions, and some people maybe they have the birth of a child, is expecting a child or something of that. Maybe they just had a child, Skip, and they don't want to leave the family.
Yep.
I get all that. So I understand all of their concerns, and I'm not holding that against them. But how short a roster are we talking? I mean, 40, 50, Skip, and you spread out over 22 teams, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of players. And as long as it's not LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, or something like that, you can get past it. But Skip, there's only so many guys that were on two-way contracts because they don't want guys to go and get guys from overseas that hadn't been on the NBA roster or in the G League or something of that nature. So this is alarming. I'm surprised. I mean, they had me all giddy about, oh man, basketball about to come in. Now they talk about what? Now we got to slow it down a little bit. Yep. So I'm really concerned, Skip.
So look, nobody wants to see this come back more than we do.
Right.
We miss it dearly. We're starved for any live sports, but especially NBA, July 31st, and then going head-to-head with the NFL with NBA playoffs. I'll take I want a deluge of live sports.
Right.
That we don't have enough show. We need twice as long to get to all the topics. Right. That's what I was looking forward to. So when I read this morning, heard about it, man, it's a downer.
It is. It is. Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah. 40 to 50 players. So yet I step back from it and I can relate and I can sympathize. And I'll just take my personal situation. I live with a woman who is now fanatical about cleaning. My wife, Ernestine, has flipped out cleaning our house, cleaning everything that comes into our house. If I dare walk out into our little complex that we live in, if I walk Hazel around the complex, shoes are coming off when I come back in and they are going to get Lysol'd. I will not walk across the living room floor with those shoes. And it's a little nutty to me. And I have accused her at moments of, you're getting a little paranoid, you're getting a little carried away, right. And we have argued, and then we have fought about it. But you know what? She is paranoid about this. She is correct to be paranoid as she is. And it took a lot to get her to allow me to leave and come back here to sit across from you at this desk. And we walk in here early in the morning, and it is an antiseptic ghost town. There are very few people here.
Very.
You wear a mask in the hallway, and I wear a mask, and Jenny wears a mask in the hallway because we are going to do this as cleanly and carefully as we possibly can.
And I think since we've been back, it's a week now. I think we came back late, so a week. I might have saw 2 people in the hallway other than you and Jenny.
That's true. No, it's true. And we got new machines with Purell everywhere in the hall, and between every topic we do, I go over and I Purell up again. And when you talk, I try to sit back a little bit, and you sit back a little bit, and we're just trying to do it right, right? And so we relate to this feeling, and it may be coming from wives, significant others who are saying, seriously?
Right.
You're going to risk going out there and bumping bodies with sweaty bodies? You know, are we ready for this? And
some of them looking at it, Skip, okay, I'm going there for what? 8 days, 8 days, 2 weeks? That's it? To be, and look, their fears Skip, if they feel that way, like I said, if you have a pre-existing condition or a condition that makes you more susceptible to this virus, I get it. Skip, I really do. And Skip, look, first of all, there's not 40 superstars in the NBA. So it's going to be some pretty close to top tier level players that's on this list. If this list is to be believed, 40 to 50.
Yep.
I mean, there ain't no 40 superstars in the NBA, Skip. So it might be, 10 superstars.
I agree.
And then when you start getting 40, you're going to start getting some players like, oh, he's not going to come? He's not coming back?
And the NBA made it clear, you are welcome not to come.
Right.
You also will not get paid if you don't
money.
come,
Yeah,
right?
Money. Yeah.
But in the end, I got no problem. If you still think it's too dangerous,
Right.
God bless,
Right.
man. I get it. Right. What I keep asking Ernestine is, how long are we going to do? A year from today, are we still going to be Lysoling?
We got to get, maybe this is maybe what has transpired, Skip, is going to do to everyday living what 9/11 did to travel. Skip, you remember, you just pull up at the airport, run through the airport, 10 minutes.
I used to.
10 minutes, hey, drop me off, hey. But what time your flight? 5 o'clock. Okay, we leave at 4:30. I just pull right up, just run right through. Those days are over.
Yep.
Travel was never the same. So this might be a situation where we get some normalcy, but we might have to look at normal as different. The old hugging and dapping and talking, being all close and doing all those things, that might be a thing of the past, or at least a thing of the not in the near future.
Yeah, I agree. I will never look at a doorknob the same way because now it's a threat. Every doorknob is like,
I be looking like, you gonna get that for me?
Yeah, would you get it?
Yeah. Hey, women, I'm sorry. I used to be chivalrous, Skip. Let me get that for you, ma'am. Now you ain't get your own.
No.
You handle that.
No. So do we want it back? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want them to guts it up for me. Go, come on, do it. Do it for us.
Right.
We need you. And they are. They're our entertainers, right? They provide things for us in escape that we don't have right now. Right?
Yep.
I do like the right to left hierarchy.
No, you know that.
So we got Kawhi number one, Giannis number two.
Skip that. So now you read right to left.
Huh.
Everybody know that
right
left to right.
Left. We start on the right. Right is right.
When?
Right to left.
You dyslexic?
That's about the
Everybody know you skip. How you read?
Yeah. See, look at the look on LeBron's face. He knows what's happening.
They know. That's the hierarchy. That's how it should be.
His look says he's number one.
No,
he is. Number two is number one.
No. I don't even number two. Number two in that picture. He's the third best player in the NBA. Everybody have what KD picture at? KD the third best player in the NBA.
Wait, who's the best two-way player? I think it's number two.
No, he used to be two-way. He ain't no two-way no more.
Yep.
Did you see what they did to him? Jason Tatum did to him?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, Jason Tatum. Oh,
that was several seasons ago.
Him.
Right?
Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart.
Really?
Marcus Smart shoved Jason Tatum down. I want him this time. Walk up.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, all I can remember is that Mario Hezonja blocked that guy.
Man, that
was a game winner that got blocked by Mario Hezonja. He's a Portland Trailblazer.
The last time
Portland's going to be the 8th seed, and you're going to have to deal with them.
Last two times you saw LeBron James, old GOAT, and the Clippers play with Kawhi. What happened?
You know what happened? Avery Bradley made 4 3-point shots in the third quarter while LeBron scored 0. That's what happened. I'm glad you brought that back. And I so miss talking about this with you. We need those 40 or 50 to say, yeah, I'll do it. I'll risk coming back.
But we don't count third quarter. Remember, third quarter's nothing. We count the fourth quarter, the money quarter.
Really?
Yeah, that when old GOAT James took that thing over.
Yeah, but you seized the lead. You were up 5 going to the fourth.
You told me
cruised home.
When I told you LeBron was cooking in the third quarter, the money time, clutch. You know, Jenny, he like to write like this here. You know, the NBA defines clutch in the last 5 minutes of the ball game. My guy cooking.
How do you explain that the Clippers, in the 3 games that have been played, have won 2 of those games, and in 2 fourth quarters, LeBron disappeared?
But hold up. How many games are y'all behind us?
A little bit.
Oh, ain't a little bit. A lot of bit.
But again, is there any home court? There's no more home court. They're going to be in Orlando. It doesn't matter.
Skip. If you're the best, it doesn't matter. That's so overrated. I'm better. Ali went to Zaire. That wasn't his home court. Beat George Foreman down. The Thriller Manila doesn't matter.
Help me out. Better coach, Doc Rivers or Frank Vogel?
Oh, Frankie V.
Frankie V?
Frankie
Seriously?
V. I like Frankie V.
Yeah, better defensive team, Kawhi's team or LeBron's team? Stop it.
Okay. I don't know. It's close.
It's not close.
It's close.
No.
Because we got them twin towers.
No.
JaVale and AD ain't nothing getting inside.
Really?
Ain't nothing getting inside.
I got the twin wings.
No.
Yeah.
We just gave y'all the business.
Ooh.
AD cook you. You got no answer for AD, Skip. You can throw all them bodies. That's what you got a bunch of bodies to try. You throw Kawhi, you throw Paul George, you throw Harkless, you throw Mars twin. You throw all them guys at him. Y'all ain't got no answer for it. But y'all really, AD be chilling. AD a 30-point walking bucket.
All I know is that on Christmas Day, it came down to the last shot of the game, and LeBron tried to take a three-point shot and got blocked by the littlest man on the court with the biggest heart on the court, Patrick Beverley.
Did you see?
He just blocked it right out of his hands, OB, game over.
And then we started sunning him. You see the last time we played, we sunned him.
Did you?
Yeah. We didn't let Doc play him. Doc couldn't even play him. He came unplayable in the fourth quarter.
Well, if Avery Bradley's going to hit 6 threes from here on in every game, you got
Okay, what about when Lou? When Sweet Lou went off in the first game, you didn't say nothing about that?
Well, he didn't really go off. I haven't seen him go off all year like he usually does. He's saving it for Orlando.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, we saved it
Here we
too.
go. Can't wait for the conference finals. And that's going to be
Too
the
bad
look
y'all
on
won't be there.
after you lose in 6 games, LeBron, that's going to be the look on your face.
We're winning in 6.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
You keep talking jive, we're going to take it in 5.
I like that.
Now, yeah, you keep on now.
I'm talking jive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys keep looking at that picture. Actually, Kawhi looks the biggest, Skip. I think you might be onto something there.
Them little arms.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
You know,
Them little arms.
I'm worried about him
Arms?
too. And I know we're socially distancing, but I miss you guys. One
Thank
day
you.
I'll be back at the table and no doors from Shannon. Good to know.
No mercy. And I won't back down.
Hall of Fame QB Warren Moon was on the herd this week and told Colin that Tom Brady is no longer the same QB he was 3 to 4 years ago. Moon said that it is noticeable as the season progresses that Brady is missing that pop in his arm as he fatigues over the course of the year. And according to Fox Bet, Brady is projected to throw 29.5 touchdowns in 2020, which is, slightly more than 24 last season. So, Shannon, does Moon have a point?
Yep. I know a guy that been saying that.
You have been saying that wrongly.
No.
Yep.
Warren Moon. Now, but he got to play a position because everybody's telling you ain't never throw a ball. You don't play quarterback.
Yep.
Warren Moon did play at a very high level. Skip, you can see it. It backs it up. In 2017, he won the MVP, Skip. He was 5th in completion percentage, passing yards, first in, he passed for yards per attempt, he was 5th. Passing yards per game, he was 1st. QBR, he was 3rd. Those numbers going from 18th in completion percentage in 2018, 27th in 2019. He's gone from 3rd in QBR in 2017 to 9th in 2018 to 19th in 2019. Skip, you love numbers.
I got some for you.
Yeah. L. Last time he was in a Patriot uniform, he called an L.
Yep.
Did he play good or did he play bad? He played bad. Now, we're not going back, Skip Bayless. We're not going to go back to Kansas City in the championship game. We're not going to see, because you like to nitpick. This is the totality of the work. 2017, 2018, 2019. Totality. Skip, he's not the same. Skip, we all are getting older. We age. Things happen. It's okay. Tom Brady is not, as much as you like to think, as much as Tom Brady fans would like to think that he's the same, he's not. It's called father time.
Yep.
It's called aging. And those things happen. He's not the same quarterback, Skip, and you don't want to believe it. You don't want to see it. But it's going to crystallize in front of your eyes.
Really?
2020.
And so the Bucs are going to go 7-9 again, says Shannon Sharpe. Is that?
I think what I got him at 9-7 or 10-6. I think I got him at 10-6.
Come on, stick by your guns. Go 9-7. Courage of convictions. Big drop off. Big
Saints going to
deterioration.
finish 2 games in front of him in the division.
2 games?
Yeah, 2 games.
I got the Bucs winning that division, and I definitely got the Bucs winning more games than the Patriots, and we got 5 cases on that, and I love that bet more than any bet I've ever made.
So you kind of scared out.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yep.
As Bruce Arians said, after they signed Tom Brady, we looked at the tape and we saw no deterioration in his arm strength last year. I saw none. I'm eye testing. I'm seeing the very same Tom Brady last year that I saw, to quote Warren Moon, 3 or 4 years ago.
What was he supposed to say, Skip? We
Bruce
signed
Arians?
Noodle Arm Tom.
You know what? Bruce Arians is about as outspoken and honest to a fault as any coach in the league.
Tom Brady about to find that out.
If Bruce Arians saw some significant decline in Tom Brady, he would say he's not quite what he used to be, but we're going to utilize his strengths at age 43. He did not say that. He said he can throw every route just the way he always threw every route. So this is very interesting because also on Colin Cowherd's show, The Herd, last week was Gerald McCoy. Love Gerald McCoy.
What do you say?
He's a Dallas Cowboy now, so I got to be careful. I got to keep
You ain't got
glove
to be
this.
careful. Oh, no,
you know?
no.
He referred to my partner, Shannon Sharpe.
What did he say?
And he said, you know, you hear Shannon Sharpe always say, this guy, if you looked in the dictionary, if it says do more with less, you should see a picture of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Do more with less.
Yeah.
That's what, okay?
Yeah.
So he says that didn't apply last year. He was not able to do more with less because Father Time, everybody keeps telling me, is undefeated.
I see some gray on the side.
Warren Moon said undefeated.
Undefeated.
I still say that all these aging current players and aged ex-players are a little bit resentful and jealous of Tom Brady because he is shattering the mold.
You did realize like Warren played to like what, 44?
40-something. Yep, I got it.
He made the Pro Bowl. I think he made the Pro Bowl at like 40.
Yep, he did. But this guy's going to make the Pro Bowl at 43. I believe this guy is going to be whatever you want him to be, comeback player of the year or MVP. He's going to be right in the middle of that.
If he was what you said, he couldn't even be in the running for comeback player.
What you said.
No, you said he'd been great.
You know what? I'm going to detail for you just how great he was because last year, like it or not, he did more with less than he's ever done in his career. He had a phenomenal year last year if you look hard at his supporting cast.
What?
He had AB for a minute. Can I call it even a minute? One game at Miami, and Antonio Brown caught 4 balls for 56 yards and a tub, as you say. 4 for 56 and a 6-pointer.
Yep.
And it looked beautiful to me. It looked like, here we go. It looked like sort of Moss-like, if you will. I thought it was 2007 all over again.
Yeah.
Because Antonio Brown can still run routes the way
He can.
nobody can run routes. He can come out of his breaks the way nobody can come out of his breaks. Now, if he could just get out of his own way off the field, we might see him back on the field. Josh Gordon, they had for about 2 minutes last year, and Bill Belichick said that is enough, and he was gone by October 31st. And the tight ends, we just talked about Benjamin Watson. He was the leading receiver at tight end last year at age 39. That's all they had left. Matt Lacoste, there was no Gronk, obviously. It was, according to Pro Football, the worst collection of tight ends in the league in productivity. N'Keal Harry. I was so excited when Belichick finally drafted a receiver late in the first round.
Yep.
And he got hurt in training camp, and he was gone for 8 games. And when he came back, I don't know what didn't happen, but he did not click with Tom Brady. And he was virtually useless the last 8 games. Maybe he'll turn into something this year. I hope for Steve's sake that you better hope so. But then I look at Mohamed Sanu. You disqualified him. You just said he's a flat-out bust. They gave a 2nd-round pick for Mohamed Sanu last year, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing? I don't know. Sony Michel. Loved Sony Michel a year ago. He ran wild in the playoffs. He was a driving force in those playoff games for Tom Brady. And last year, after he averaged 72 yards a game the year before, he averaged 57 and wound up deep in the doghouse, and I don't know why, because he was virtually lost in that offense last year. And then David Andrews was a Pro Bowl center, gone for the whole year. So you have to throw in backup center. But
you talk about David Andrews like he was the White Stevens or Damani Dawson or somebody.
Crucial to that offensive line.
He's a guy.
So it fell in Pro Football Focus ratings down to the middle of the pack. I think it was ranked 16th at the end of the year in pass blocking and maybe 18th in run blocking. They weren't very good.
He wasn't very good.
Okay.
You keep talking about he He's a part of they.
Okay.
He wasn't very good. And nobody has done less with less than Tom Brady last year.
Okay. So Julian Edelman becomes your only go-to. He's all you got. Broken down, beat up shell of self. He's got cracked ribs. He's got a shoulder that will need surgery. And he's got a knee that I thought needed surgery because he could not get out of his brakes the way he used to. He led the league in drops last year, and they were bottom of the league, ranked 32nd in what Pro Football Focus calls separation.
Where he rank what?
32nd in separation? Nobody can get open. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what Tom Brady did? He was number one in the league in percentage of completions on tight window deep throws. That's 20-plus yard throws. Tom Brady led the National Football League on deep throws, tight windows, contested completion percentage.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Pretty good, right? His passer rating was better on deep throws, 20-plus yards last year, than it was in 2007, that record-setting year when he was the MVP.
He threw it so infrequently. So, of course, the number's going to be high. It's like a guy shooting 75 threes as opposed to Steph Curry shooting 800 threes.
And then I asked my friend Gerald McCoy, did you notice what happened in the last regular season game? Would you believe Tom Brady took this garbage and positioned it to be the 2 seed in the AFC, to be one rung below Baltimore, and have a chance to take a week off badly needed because they were so beat up, and get to play one home game to get back to Baltimore, the scene of the quote-unquote crime, the Sunday night crime, when they got blown off the field. Remember that?
Yeah, the Baltimore beatdown.
And it was a beatdown, and the Belichick's defense got beat up that night.
I did too.
No, okay. So what happened against the rival Miami Dolphins in Foxborough? Tom Brady takes the ball and goes 60 yards in 8 plays, and with 3 minutes left, he got them back in the lead, 24-20. And he got the 2 seed, and he handed it to the greatest coach in the history of pro football, according to Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Famer, Bill Belichick. Here, I hand you the 2 seed. And Coach Hoodie spit the bit. He choked on the 2 seed, and his defense gave up a 75-yard drive in 13 plays to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yep. And they lost the 2 seed 27-20. Ryan Fitzpatrick had to drive the length of the field to score a touchdown, not just kick a field goal, and he did that. And that's when I think Tom Brady looked up and said, I'm done. I'm out.
Hold on, Skip. Why you do that? They still made the playoffs. See, what you try to do, you try to use little nuances. He had them in position to get the 2 seed. Did they miss the playoffs because they lost that game? Okay, they still had home field advantage over the Tennessee Titans.
No week off.
Okay, yeah. Tennessee didn't have a week off either.
Okay, and who came in the hottest team in the playoffs? I think it was the Tennessee Titans.
But see, the Tom Brady to go. Tom Brady the cooler. So no matter how hard it is, he can cool you off. Okay, so that was his chance. What happened? Now, see, you keep talking about the Patriots receivers was 32nd in separation. Tom Brady was 27th in completion percentage. Tom Brady was 27th in yards per attempt. 13th in yards per game, 19th in QBR. And this is the guy Pro Football Focus says is the 24th best player in the NFL. Where? Well, how? When? Where? And Aaron Rodgers can't crack the top 50. And he had better numbers in all of the statistical categories, including the most important one, the one that Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, if he were to wear a hat, what he hang his hat on? Wins. My guy won more games than your guy. Had better numbers across the board.
Who's your guy today? I can't.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so did you see the Bleacher Report piece yesterday in which it was ranking supporting casts in the league?
Yeah.
And it ranked New England's 29th. So Jared Stidham, is going to have the 29th worst supporting cast.
Did you see what Aaron Rodgers had?
That's what Tom Brady had last year. It isn't about Aaron Rodgers, it's about Tom Brady.
Hold on, how about? Okay, 20, that's what Stid had. Aaron Rodgers got 26. So you make it seem like he got a top 5 roster.
I'm just saying, 29th, and that's about what Tom had last year. In fact, Tom probably had in the 30s last year.
So now, in other words, so what you try to tell me, Tampa's offense is going to have to carry Tom Brady. Is that what you saying? So now the old man can't walk. We got to carry him. Where before he used to carry everybody. Now, see, Skip, that's the 3 stages you go through.
All of a sudden, Warren Moon is going to have to eat a little crow here because he's seeing not a huge deterioration, but that later in the year, he can't make the throws that he made 3 or 4 years ago. Just watch. Just wait.
We've been watching, and we've been seeing it. That's why we saying it.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, Cameron Brate, O.J. Howard. Are you kidding me? Watch what's about to happen. Records are about to fall.
Yeah, you got a nice shiny Ferrari, but you got an old driver.
Really? Shannon?
Mario Andretti came. He's great. Mario Andretti is historically great, Skip. Put him on the track right now in the Indy 500 with them old young guns, and they blow him off the road. Fact.
Well, if you gave him a much better car than the young guns, I bet he could hang in there.
Little while.
Yeah. Shannon,
Them young guns.
he ain't going away.
He ain't going.
This is the one guy you cannot bet.
I bet against him last year and won. Sweepstakes. Yeah, I told you what was going to happen.
You actually bet against him for 3 straight years saying this is it for Tom Brady, and it's not it. Look, there he is.
Well,
look, he's in pewter now.
He caught a break because my homeboy was supposed to have to get it. My homeboy was supposed to have been back-to-back champ.
Back-to-back?
That's what he's supposed to have done.
Wait, because that guy completed 3 straight 3rd and 10 passes in the AFC Championship game to cost him that one?
In overtime, y'all got the ball. That's not fair. We should have got an opportunity to get the ball also.
Not fair?
Not fair.
Okay.
It's not fair. You've been betting against Tom Brady.
Yep.
I'm going to bet again,
I started
too.
this show, and I
I'm going to bet him again.
for you.
No mercy.
We need to talk here about Baker Mayfield. It is no secret that Mayfield and former Browns head coach Hugh Jackson had a falling out when Jackson took a coaching position with the division rival Bengals after he was fired in Cleveland. When asked about their relationship yesterday, Jackson said, quote, "I've coached a lot of different personalities and players, different backgrounds, the whole 9 yards. I've never had a player ever attack me that way." Shannon, whose side are you on here?
Skip, I ain't on anybody's side. Both of them should just let it go. Baker's not your quarterback. You're not his head coach. Skip, there's bad blood between you guys, but I guess all is fair in love and war and when you're writing a book. And so it seems to be that's what's going on here, Skip. And controversy and things like that, it sells. And so I guess Hugh is drumming up support for that book. But let's let it go. Let it go, Hugh.
If I have to pick a side, remember, Baker was the #1 overall pick. And remember the Hard Knocks segment in which Hugh called Baker and Drew Stanton into his office and said, "Congratulations, Baker. You won the backup job," to Tyrod Taylor, obviously. And I don't think Baker ever quite got over that because Hugh never quite bought completely into Baker, was forced to play Baker in sort of mid-season, after
the second, third game, Tyrod got hurt.
Was it maybe
against the Jets, like a Monday night when Baker came in and won the game for him.
And he took the world by storm, right? Yep. And that was the best we've seen so far of Baker in pro football. Right. And he took over the town and the team and basically the league for a little while. And it was, look, Baker is, if I dare say, Jordan-esque in this way. He likes to pick fights with people to motivate himself. Right. So he was picking one. Well, Hugh sort of started in his view, and I'm going to show you Hugh. Right. And then as soon as Hugh went to Marvin's staff in Cincinnati, I'm going to point at you and I'm going to show you. Right. That's how Baker rolls. That's how he operates in life.
He lost all the fight last year.
He did. I think he lost the chip on his shoulder because he needs one to thrive. And I mentioned that supporting cast article in Bleacher Report. Well, guess who was #2 on the list to Patrick Mahomes' #1 with best supporting cast? Baker's #2 on the list. They're saying he's got the second best supporting cast in the NFL. Hey, good luck, man. You're on the hot seat.
And guess what? He had a cast last year. Now maybe we're going to chalk it up to Odell's injury. But we're going to see. This is a make or break season for Baker Mayfield.
Make or break?
It is. Because he got off, he was way up here his rookie season, and he went lower than I think anybody even expected, even if they said, well, maybe he doesn't have quite the season he has his second year and his first year. But Skip, he stepped off a cliff. But I think he was starting to listen to the chatter.
I agree.
Other things became more important than football. He started reading his press clippings.
And maybe
let's
doing
hope-
too many progressive commercials.
So let's just hope he can get back to playing football, focus on the task at hand, which is football,
Yeah.
and he'll get back to winning some football games.
Well, I hope so, because you give him Austin Hooper now, and Odell says he's healthy, and obviously Jarvis and Chubb, and here we go. Yeah.
Njoku comes back.
And Njoku.
They fortified his offensive line with Wills and Conklin. There are no excuses now, Skip. There's no excuses.
No excuse.
I'm with Skip. No more commercials. I think we're good there. He did enough to last a lifetime. That is it for Undisputed, guys. Thanks for watching. We're back same time tomorrow. Have a good day, guys.